Last time on Nostalgicast, the Nostalgicast crew delivered a roundup of the best and most up-to-date nostalgic news, discussed the stories, and gave their thoughts. I'm your host, who rides hard for Mr. Popo, Andrew Price.
Not for Mr. Popo.
People of Earth, Lynn Tyler Palo, your energy. Are you ready now to witness a power not seen for thousands of years?
Yep.
Kelby Joseph.
Yeah, that's me.
And Dad Beats, a.k.a. Absentee Dad Beats, a.k.a. Kirk Pichon.
Wow.
Damn. You're going to make all 11 people that listen to this.
Absentee Dad Beats goes with Dragon Ball Z.
This song is going a little longer than I anticipated it was going to. I thought that was going to take longer to get through. Also, last time on Nostalgicast, we talked about, what did we talk about? Chucky, a Chucky show.
Talked about Lizzie McGuire.
We talked about Lizzie McGuire.
Matrix 4.
We did not talk about Matrix 4. That was on several
The
episodes
heck?
ago.
We ate candy.
All right, now,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, candy. That's fact. For Kirk, if you don't know what that is, that's Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Goku was a terrible father, is what he was getting at.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
not a
Well,
terrible
no, what he
father.
was getting
saved
at
the
is that
world.
I'm a terrible
yeah,
father.
He was drawing a parallel between yourself
Also
and
true.
Goku.
Your son is your dad.
Both because you can go Super Saiyan and you're a terrible father.
Yes, he's Mr. Pinchon.
Yeah.
So let's go deep into this Mr. Popo thing.
Which is to say,
I'm not going to go into it.
which is to say, R.I.P. Brice Armstrong,
Yeah.
narrator of the Funimation dub of Dragon Ball Z, the one we all remember from watching on Fox Kids and Toonami, and he was also the voice of Captain Ginyu. He passed away at 84 years old
Oh, wow. Well, rest in peace.
on January 10th of natural causes.
Those dang
And I think I did a pretty good impression.
That was
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah.
I was thinking it was spot on. I was like, God, he fucking nailed it.
Andrew, I want to take a moment to say that is the third I've seen you drink this year. I'm worried about you, bud. Are you lacking energy? Because you're drinking coffee and a Monster.
Goodness gracious.
And you're putting like sugar. Like, what is going on,
I have
man?
this strategically hidden behind this.
Oh, I see.
And you fucking dox me?
Donut shaming?
Damn it! I'm sorry.
Damn.
I didn't even have to hide
Why
it for the audio version.
Why
You
you
just-
drinking two
that's a
caffeine
good point.
sources?
what?
Why are you drinking 2 caffeine sources?
I always have a cup of coffee in the morning.
He drinks the other one for
I mean,
taurine.
I can tell you why.
Oh.
He has 2 toddler children.
Oh, is that a
End
factor?
of
Is
sentence.
that a
Is-
fa- is that a
that's
thing?
why.
Big E a toddler still?
Big E is the only one that is
Is a toddler, and then you have a baby.
Alistair's an
Oh,
infant.
toddler
Don't
and a baby.
don't you have the first one to take care of the second one?
Not that
That's
early
facts.
on.
That's
Oh,
facts.
gotcha.
That's facts. You
Yeah.
gotta wait 5 years.
If Ephraim was left alone with Alistair, I would have one child.
One child.
All right, well, what's going on, guys? It's been a while since I seen you.
It's only been a couple minutes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know,
You always say
play it
that.
up for the people.
I feel like
Continuity's sake,
the
gosh.
joke is lost on the audience that
I'm
every time you say
it
that,
like in a realistic
we
sense.
you just saw us all for like the entire morning.
No, but how's it going in general? Let's pretend.
Let's pretend. All
It's
right.
supposed to be a team. You guys aren't
Oh,
catching
sorry.
my passes, man.
Andrew
I'm-
doesn't want to take improv
I'm yucking-
classes.
I'm
We're not
yucking
yet.
your
Yeah.
yum.
Lou,
Sorry, I'm yucking your yum.
Yes, and brother.
Is that the wrestling improv?
Yes.
All right, well then forget it. Everybody's fine.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. There we go.
I'm drinking a Monster and a coffee. I mean, is there anything else you need to know?
You're gonna sweat all day long.
I hope I do.
That's
I
the
hope
point.
it's green and glows in the dark.
Didn't you say 11 episodes ago that you care so much that you want to live very long and that's why you take a shower a month and blah 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 and all this stuff? And then you're drinking. You want green pea?
Speaking.
I'm impressed that you remember anything that we've talked about on this
That's
podcast.
true. Yeah.
Because you can't remember the whole conversation about John Wick 4 and Matrix 4.
But speaking
if it's
of-
not like the lake house is gonna be trashy.
That's true. I agree.
Thank you.
Green and glowing. Lou Ferrigno became a highway patrol somewhere or a deputy somewhere.
He did.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
He was deputized.
80 years
He
old.
became a deputy
Deputy
something
sheriff?
Something,
in New Mexico.
Yeah. But
Good for him.
yeah, he's been working at it for a long time,
He
and
needs some
he
money.
did it. That's amazing.
That's great for him.
Good for him. There is life after fame.
I love
What?
I love healthy transitions. To
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
people.
he became a deputy sheriff in Sirocco County, New Mexico.
That's awesome.
Or Socorro County, New Mexico.
You
I was
think
going to
those
say
King of
Sirocco doesn't
Queens
sound
checks
familiar.
is not cashing still? You're not cashing?
Lou Ferrigno was in King of Queens.
Man, don't talk to me.
Yeah, he was in King.
Was he?
Not every episode, but
Oh,
he was in
that's
for
cool.
several
Yeah.
seasons here and there.
I just still cannot get over the fact that they walk their dad like a dog in that show. They have a dad walker.
I can't get over the fact that this is just making me realize that all my entire life goals have just been completely wrong. I should have never moved away from New Mexico and moved to LA. I should have stayed in New Mexico so the fucking Hulk could be my sheriff.
God.
How old is
No,
he?
that would not have been okay.
He's what, like 59,
He's gotta be 50.
He's
60?
got to be 70.
No.
Oh my God.
No, he's like
He looks great for 70 if he is.
61.
He's also deaf.
Yeah.
Oh.
What kind of cop?
If Andrew still lived in New Mexico, though, he would intentionally become a bad guy.
I would.
So he could tell people he got pulled over by the Hulk.
No,
would just
he
go,
would be the New Mexico villain.
Yes.
Like the
Look.
continuous.
And he wouldn't be able to hear you.
And he'd be arresting me, and he'd be like, he'd be arresting me, and he'd be like, you know what you did? And he's like, yeah, I think I do. Does that make you angry at all?
And every time he's like, no,
I'm pretty
zen right now.
You broke the law, but this is my job, and
yeah.
but does it make you a little bit angry?
You're like, I'm okay. I mean, I'm a little miffed that I have to do this, but I'm not actually.
But
angry.
what if I just broke this window?
I would write you a ticket and tell you not to do it again. And the whole time you're like, God damn it. He won't change. He won't turn.
You guys, I got a guy out here calling himself a supervillain, says he won't be taken in by anybody but Lou Ferrigno.
Doesn't that make you angry?
He's calling himself the illegal alien.
68
I
as
knew
a
he had to be
sheriff.
near 70.
68?
That's fantastic.
Wow.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
He can't chase you. I'd hope to get you.
Lou, I know you're listening.
I think
Kelby just challenged you to a parking lot fight.
Me?
Yes.
I'm talking about Lou Ferrigno.
Yep.
Oh,
You
Lou,
talking about
I thought
how?
you were talking about Blue Lou.
No, not no. Whoa! I don't want you to die. I'm not trying to kill you.
Yeah. Don't do that.
But you and Lou Ferrigno got to fight now because you
I'll fight
saying
him.
he's.
I think
This is a weird thing that happens where action star actors want to become law enforcement.
Yeah,
later in their
Steven
life.
Seagal,
why not?
Shaq.
Shaq.
Yeah, and
Oh my God.
Clint Eastwood. I think he was like the mayor of like Carmel,
Carmel,
by
yeah.
the sea for a while.
Yeah.
Is that town's name actually Carmel by the Sea?
I think it's just Carmel.
No, the name is the full name of the town is
Oh, is it
Carmel by
really?
the Sea.
Oh, that's hilarious. How fucking.
There's a lot of towns with like weird names like that around the country. Like some town in I think it's New Mexico. There's a town called Truth and Consequence.
Fine,
or maybe it's Arizona.
Quentin Tarantino ripoff movie directed by Kiefer Sutherland, starring Kiefer Sutherland, and it's real bad.
It's
What is it called? Sorry.
Truth or Consequence.
Truth or
Yeah, it's called-
Consequence?
It's called Truth or Consequence, New Mexico. Yeah, it is New Mexico. And
God.
it's named that because there was a game show in the 40s or whatever called Truth or Consequences. They offered to like give the city money if they changed their name to Truth or Consequences. And that's why that town is called that.
I mean, I would.
When I own a town, I'm going to
can't
call
be
it
that
Dharma and
much
Greg,
money.
Ohio.
It sounds like a kind of westerny, kind of like
Dharma and Greg, Ohio,
like
California.
like my grandpa was born in a little town in Texas called Roundup, and it sounds like something like that. It sounds like some like kind of westerny, folksy name, but it's actually just named after a game show because they paid them.
It's just like a regular town.
That's
Yeah.
Back in the day, Cox paid an entire town to name themselves after it. So it was like Cox, California or something like that, and it was amazing.
Was it spelled like we think it's spelled?
No.
COX.
COX, like the.
There was some lady back in the 90s who I forget the name. What was it? Is it Rare? I forget which company published it or developed the Turok games.
Oh, I
But they paid a woman to name her son Turok
That's not a bad
as
name.
part of like a PR thing.
That's
Was
not
he
a,
black?
yeah.
And most recently, there was a guy who named his son Goku.
That's not a good name.
That's
but
understandable.
Is Turok black?
No, it was like a white lady. But
not
Turok is like a Native American guy. It's Turok Dinosaur Hunter. It was a first person shooter
We're gonna
on the
take
N64.
it. No, we'll
You know.
take it.
You gonna co-opt it?
Yeah, that's mine now.
Before we get into the stories, kind of a follow up from a previous story. Several episodes ago, we reviewed the first episode of Watchmen. We talked about it. We all seemed to like it.
Very much.
Probably everybody else in this room fell off of it. I doubt you watched even the second episode.
No, it's only because I didn't have HBO. I don't have HBO.
But I watched the whole season. So the first season came to a close. It was very good. Maybe didn't end as perfectly as I wanted it to. I think that because they were confined to the sort of like 9-episode season, they had to kind of rush some things. They were setting up a lot of track, and then they kind of had to like pay it all off in the last episode. And so some things were maybe a little bit more rushed than they could have been. But otherwise, very good. And I think very powerful and very relevant to, the modern social issues we're going through. And so the first season ended, and basically what happened was the series creator and showrunner Damon Lindelof, he was like, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to do a second season. And he said, you guys can do a second season if you want, but I'm not going to do it. And surprisingly, HBO decided to just end the show after the one season because they only wanted to do it with him. And as a matter of fact, they said it's really in Damon's thinking about what he wants to do. If there's an idea that excited him about another season, another installment, maybe like a Fargo True Detective and anthology take on it, or if he wants to do something different altogether, we're very proud of Watchmen, but what I'm most interested in is what Damon wants to do. So they kind of took this stand of like, yeah, we loved this and we're proud of it, but like we're more interested in working with Damon Lindelof than we are with doing another season of this show.
I find this so rare and so odd that I feel like maybe I'm being paranoid, but that they're hiding something.
It's got to be more nefarious than
it's so rare because that show. I mean, I don't know how it did numbers wise for HBO, but it was critically acclaimed.
Yeah,
like it was way critically acclaimed. So to have the creator go, I don't want to do it. You can do it. I don't mind. And HBO going, no. We'd rather do it with you, so we're not going to do it. That seems weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And also, I won't take credit for this observation. This is actually something that my friend pointed out to me. But the crazy thing is, on the episode where we reviewed The Watchmen, if you remember the discussion, I kind of gave you guys all like a primer on the whole story of Watchmen.
Yeah.
And the whole sort of lineage and story of The Watchmen is that Alan Moore created the book and did the book with the artist Dave Gibbons, and then he struck a deal with DC where they're basically like, once this book goes out of print, the rights to all the characters in the book will revert to you. And it was kind of like a trick because, little did Alan Moore realize that the book would just never go out of print, and it's still to this day in print and like one of the best-selling comics ever. And so it completely disillusioned him with mainstream comics, and he sort of like he vowed to never work with DC again, and he's disavowed any usage of the Watchmen property. He, any movies or Reboot comics or this or whatever. He's just like, I want nothing to do with it, and DC has offered him the money on several occasions on all these things. Like he's always offered royalties for it, and he always turns them down, and he gives his cut of the royalties to Dave Gibbons. And Dave Gibbons is like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll go around and be in the interviews and talk about how great the movie is or the show is or whatever. Like he doesn't have the same qualms that Alan Moore did. In the comics industry, there's a very specific syntax to the way that they handle ownership, where it's like if the writer and the artist are sort of given like equal creator credit over comics, because back in the day that didn't happen and artists were routinely screwed out of credit. So they've kind of they've course corrected heavily to being like the artist is just as much the creator and the owner of this thing as the writer. But low key, Alan Moore created Watchmen and Dave Gibbons drew it.
So what does this have to do with the show?
So I got lost on
I have no idea how this applies to the show.
So, but the crazy thing is that was the whole lineage of it, was that they made anytime that they make anything with the Watchmen, whether it's the new comics that they do at DC or the movie that Zack Snyder directed or this, anytime they make something like this, they're doing it with the direct knowledge that the creator of the Watchmen doesn't want them to, and is like, fuck you. There's a lot of fans who are like, I will refuse to, like my friend, no matter how good Watchmen is, he will never watch it because of what it stands for, of just like the theft of somebody's idea. So they do this show that, in and of itself, just by doing the show, they're basically taking a thing and doing it without the creator's consent and doing it without them. But then when this other guy who was sort of part of that, of like Damon Lindelof, did this show, he took it to HBO and pitched it, all with direct knowledge of like, the person who created this does not want me to do this, and this is sort of like a direct slap in the face to him after everything that happened to him and how much he got screwed out of ownership. But then to take that and then for them to be like, but we won't do it without the original creator. Like quote unquote creator. He didn't create the Watchmen. He just quote unquote created the show. And for HBO to be like, we can't do it without Damon. We refuse to do this without him involved. It's just very ironic considering what Watchmen is and how it's built off of that exact scenario of like people doing a thing without the consent of the creator.
But that happens like every day in LA.
Yeah, it does, but like
it's common.
It happens every day and it's common, and certainly many of the stories are just as fucked up as the Alan Moore thing. But the Alan Moore thing is a little more distinct and it's a little different than most stories because of the fact that like there was deceit involved. Like the guy that did the covers for Goosebumps and how he just kind of got, in the grand scheme of things, just royally screwed.
Yeah, not according to Tyler.
So he did these covers. And he got paid like $500 or $1,000 or whatever the number was, but just a commission per. He got paid on a flat rate per cover to do these things, and these books became wildly, massively popular. R.L. Stine became like a multi-millionaire, he's rich off of these books because he owns it and has royalties, and the artist got nothing other than just what he got paid to do them. Because he was never given an option of like being given any partial ownership or any kind of royalties or whatever. And it's kind of fucked up because the reason why those books are popular is because of the covers. Like he's probably 90% responsible for the popularity of that book series. And he just got nothing. He's just a guy. And R.L. Stine is fucking rich. But the difference is that he was never tricked into believing something that ended up not happening. Like nobody was ever like, once these books go out of print, you'll get revenue, you'll get royalties, or like there was no deceit in him agreeing to do that.
It feels like still that there's something else going on. And also like great now this cast that has been like, oh my God, this show is going great. People love it. Can't wait for the next season. No.
When did that happen? When did they do when did Alan Moore create the Watchmen? And are the same people still running DC as they were back then when this happened?
1986.
When all this went down, like are the same people in charge or have new people taken over? And would have they tried to just give him the rights to it? Because I think he would just come around if they were like, here's all the rights to it. I understand it's a lot of money, but as long as you write a few more books with us, you could have all of it.
If they unilaterally gave him the ownership of the Watchmen and all the characters back, I'm sure he'd probably find it in his heart to forgive DC, even if some of the people who worked there in the 80s are still there. I don't really know what that is. I'm sure it's a mixture. I'm sure it's like probably largely new people, but there probably are some people that are still working there from back in the day. But they would never do that.
That's unfortunate.
I feel they should have continued on. It's my hot take.
Yeah, get a different director every time. Make the whole feel of it different. Tell it from a different perspective. Fuck it.
I'm really shocked that HBO was like, we're going to move away from this critically acclaimed hit.
It's really weird.
I heard that the numbers got kind of low in the second half, though. Viewership numbers.
I mean, I honestly, I didn't look into the ratings of it at all. My only barometer for how big it was just
social media.
Like I certainly didn't see people talking about the show in the same way that I saw people talking about Game of Thrones or Westworld. So I'm sure it wasn't as big of a hit as either of those shows.
Them first 3 episodes got everybody, and then after that,
But ratings aside, it was a fucking good show.
Well, rest in peace to the Watchmen.
For now.
You said it was ironic, and all I thought was, it's like raining squid on Times Square. All right, next thing.
From a refreshingly natural end to an arbitrarily prolonged death.
Nice segue.
Robert Downey Jr. demanding a ridiculous sum of money to return to the MCU. According to sources, Robert Downey Jr. isn't ruling out a return to the MCU, but he's asking for a ridiculous amount of money if they want him back. We weren't able to get an exact figure confirmed, but we've been told that he wants more than his base salary was for Endgame. According to The Observer, that was $20 million, so he's asking for more than that for whatever form his MCU return may take, be it a role in the Ironheart TV show or somewhere else. And yeah, they're developing an Ironheart TV show. Ironheart is kind of like a more recent Marvel character. I think it was created by Brian Michael Bendis. He's a comic book writer. He created Miles Morales. He's not black, but he creates a lot of like black versions of characters.
Get this guy out of here.
And he created Ironheart, which is a teenage black female Iron Man.
Oh,
Who's Iron Lad?
I know the name. I don't know.
Iron Lad's like a
Never
time
heard.
traveler
Puerto
who
Rican
comes back.
dog.
Yeah, it's just a young Iron Man
okay.
character.
Robert Downey Jr. does not want to play Iron Man anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I
He
think
doesn't want to do it anymore. And I think in his head, he said, I thought we understood this. And then they're like, everybody wants you back. And he goes, fine, $70 million.
Absolutely. I think that's what he's
Hopefully,
doing.
just saying they're never going to agree to this.
Yeah.
And then next year,
What if they did
they're
that?
going to do
They're
it.
definitely
Yeah,
going
what
to pay it.
Yeah, what if they did though? It's like that's pretty much what happened to Donald Trump.
He'll do it. I
He was
believe
like,
he'll do it.
He was like, "Make me president. We'll build a wall. Mexico will pay for it." And then people were like, "Yes, please." And he was like, "Oh shit."
shit. I hope they pay Robert Downey Jr. that.
No.
I want.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a
I love
wrap.
that. I
It's
love
a
that.
wrap. Cut. The movie's over.
But he is cutting it. He's like, I don't want to do it.
You know
If
what?
you want me back, I want $50 million. If they say, well, okay, Mr. Downey, here's your big bag of
Absolutely.
money.
I mean, he needs to make that money back from that horrendous movie he just
Oh,
made.
he's
but
doing, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
Doolittle?
I thought you were saying
Yeah.
Endgame.
He's
Nah,
doing fine.
Doolittle.
You don't know that Doolittle's
About to
bad
come
yet.
across the table.
No,
I'm just saying.
it's doing poorly, and he and his wife are executive producers. So
Are they?
I'm sure they lost some money there.
I'm sure they're fine.
We knew that movie was gonna be fucking.
Yeah.
Was gonna be a train
I mean,
wreck.
come on.
Yeah.
Sure, for sure. But I'm just.
I don't
saying,
like to judge movies by trailers.
Oh,
and
the
I
trailers,
usually I
sure.
reserve my opinion a lot of time because I understand that the way that trailers are made for marketing purposes usually like are very poor representations of what the movie is going to be. But there are some movies where you watch it and you're just like, or there's some trailers that you watch it and it's just like no matter what you're just like, I've got this movie's number.
Yep.
This is going to be a fucking disaster.
And
Kelby,
that's
are
what-
you going to be mad if he really makes that money? Are you going to be disappointed? Who are you going to be disappointed in?
The thing is, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't.
The
be,
consumer.
I wouldn't be disappointed in the money part
Yeah,
because
the homeless people.
for me, it's like make your money, whatever. But he doesn't want to do it. He just said on Joe Rogan that he's old. Like he feels old. He doesn't want to be the old guy playing a superhero anymore. When he saw who was it, Batman? When he saw Superman playing a superhero at like 60, it's just goofy and doofy. So why?
Goofy and Doofy.
It's goofy and doofy.
I'm
So
confused.
as much as we
I hate a
love,
Goofy especially.
oh gosh,
No.
So as much as we love Robert Downey Jr., I think that if we bring him back, first we're gonna see the age because the last time I saw him as Iron Man, I was like, this dude is getting old. The wrinkles are showing, and that's not the guy I want to call to save me.
But
okay?
to recast Iron Man,
Don't
'cause
do
if-
any more Iron Man.
so don't do any more. You're saying just
Finish
put
it. It's a wrap. Bring him back in 10 years like they do Spider-Man so we could hate that guy for a while and then eventually love him.
I say the opposite. There is a comic book where we find out Tony Stark has a twin brother, Arlo Stark. I say get fucking Robert Downey Jr. in there playing both roles.
Nope.
I want double Robert Downey Jr.
The only way I'll accept Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play Iron Man is in 10 years, he does the Batman Beyond thing and he's old Iron Man passing the suit down to a new, young, fresh Iron
Look at
Lad.
that. How do they bring him? I get this is a stupid question. I'm sorry, I'm asking it.
Uh-huh.
How do they bring him back?
They
He
time
didn't
travel.
die?
They time
Well,
travel.
He did die.
He did die, right?
He did die. And
They could do so many things.
it's
because
a
They time
multiverse.
travel.
baked into the Marvel Comics universe is the fact that there's like infinite different universes.
Oh,
I don't think
It's
they
like
can
it's like
time travel.
Miles Morales. Basically, like there's like the Amazing Spider-Man, which is like the sort of prime universe Spider-Man, Peter Parker, the one that sort of like is the most iconic one. And then there's like Ultimate Spider-Man, which was a book in the 90s, which is like a slightly different version of Spider-Man. That version of Peter Parker dies, and Miles Morales becomes the new Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Into the Spider-Verse was sort of an adaptation.
oh, okay.
But
Good thing I didn't see it.
the main Peter Parker from like the Prime universe goes into the Ultimate Spider-Man universe and teams up with Miles Morales, and they do stuff. And then there's like another universe where like instead of Spider-Man, his girlfriend Gwen Stacy, like Peter Parker dies, and then she becomes the Spider Woman, and that's a whole other comic. So there's like infinite ways for them to be like, oh, Spider-Man
Yeah.
or Iron Man's back.
It's all exhausting.
Yeah.
Here's what I want. Gwyneth Paltrow wakes up. It was all a dream. Robert Downey Jr. is in the
she's
shower.
in bed next to Bob Newhart.
Yeah, I had this terrible dream that I was married to Iron Man, and he was real quippy and annoying, and oi. That's what I want.
I love it. I love it.
I had this weird dream that you know, like that kid that got like did some movies in the 80s and then he got like he went to prison and had all these like addiction drug issues. Like he just became like the biggest movie star in the
It
world.
was really weird.
Ridiculous.
Thank God that didn't happen.
You think he's bigger than The Rock?
Yes.
100%.
If he
85%.
was bigger than The Rock, Doolittle would have made money.
Oh, The Rock should have played Doolittle.
The Rock was
The
on
Rock
Jungle
is-
Cruise.
The Rock is in so many bombs. He's not a guaranteed.
past 5 years.
Fast and Furious movies.
Not a bomb.
No, those
Oh wait, you
Middle
guys
of
are mean like box office. I just mean that movie. All those movies.
The
suck.
Tooth Fairy.
Not a
That's
bomb.
not the last 5 years.
Baywatch.
Not a bomb.
Baywatch
Yes,
wasn't
it
a
was.
bomb.
No,
Baywatch-
it made plenty of money.
Absolutely.
No, it
was a
didn't.
bomb.
No,
Look
it
up.
didn't.
Look it up.
Oh, here we go.
Um,
Look up the Tooth Fairy while you're at it.
You
that's
can't-
like 10
that's
years
like
ago.
So long
Oh, is
ago.
it?
Though. It's like
Yeah, it's
2003.
real old.
2005 actually.
His best movie was
Do the
Walking
game plan
Tall.
where he has a doll. Oh, the daughter. The Walking Tall was
Okay, that's good.
amazing.
Yeah. Oh, he does a good movie.
And what was the one with where he has to go and find the dude's son in the Amazon or in the jungle?
Dora.
Yes.
Wait.
No, it wasn't Dora. It was the rundown. Yeah. Oh my
God,
God.
Rundown's great.
So good, Little Thunder.
Baywatch made $58 million on a $69 million budget.
No way.
Oh.
I must be
Look up
thinking of
Tooth Fairy.
something else. All right.
Stop asking.
I want to hear about Tooth Fairy.
Oh, Tooth Fairy. This should have been my top 10
Hey,
list.
what are you looking at? I see it made 178.7.
That's worldwide.
That's a win.
It's not a win. IMDb's at 160 something, but it cost $69 million to make it, plus all the marketing.
Sure.
They
So
made
we gotta
nothing. They made
count,
no
like-
money.
That's like 100 million. So it made like 70 million.
It's smarter to look at the domestic because you can just write off the worldwide, the difference of the worldwide for the marketing that they spend on it. The Tooth Fairy on a budget of $48 million made $60 million
Oh my
domestically.
God.
Hey.
The Tooth Fairy did better than fucking Baywatch.
Nah, come on. You
Yeah.
know, other countries spend more money on American movies. Come on, Andrew. You're not a noob.
I don't know, man.
Don't make Andrew angry.
I mean,
Andrew Ferrigno.
Yeah.
George
He did just have a
Washington.
green monster.
George Washington tried to. He taught us a lesson.
Oh boy.
Yeah, take shrooms and write your laws.
He established the fact that he could have just kept being president,
Oh.
and he said, "I'm going to teach them how to say goodbye."
One last time.
And we've forgotten that lesson because now
Still don't
we
know.
can't say goodbye to anything.
Oh, yeah,
Good
yeah.
point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Iron Man had one of the most epic, satisfying conclusions that a
absolutely.
character can have in the history of storytelling, like movies, maybe even anything. And we just want him back. Of course, we want him back.
Oh,
But you just gotta say goodbye.
man's dead.
How do I?
I'll tell you how. Bye.
Say goodbye.
So I mean, I hope this doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's why he's doing it. He's just.
I hope it happens just for the fuck you money.
Oh, if
He's
they're
already
willing to
did it
pay,
once.
I know, but this is
Take
like
I think it'd be
that
so funny if he
shit.
takes the fuck you money
Yeah.
and then like the next Marvel movie that comes out, whether it's another Iron Man movie or just something else where he's just totally phoning it in.
Yeah.
And he's just not even like a cool character
and
anymore.
tanks.
Yeah.
It's just a big tank, and they're like, "Fuck, we paid all that money." That's what I want to
and
see.
then slowly Disney just loses all of its money, and then it goes bankrupt. How crazy would that be?
I don't want that.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, my bad.
That wouldn't happen. They'd make that money right back on Jungle Cruise.
They need to stay in business long enough for the Shaggy Dog 2 to come out.
So I could be in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim Allen will still play the character. You will play the dog when he transforms
When he
into a dog.
transforms, I gotta play the dog.
Nice Tim Allen.
I love it.
A She-Hulk series for Disney Plus is shooting this summer in Atlanta.
Don't want it.
Well,
You don't
but
even know
stop.
who She-Hulk is.
Who's gonna play She-Hulk?
They don't know yet. There's
Emmy Rossum.
that could be cool, or whatever her name is, Gina Carano or whatever that What the fuck is that girl's name?
What is she from?
Most recently, the most recent thing that I saw her when she was in The Mandalorian.
She's
in Haywire.
She's in Haywire. That was the first thing she was in.
She's the superpower or the superhero Deadpool. She's the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You guys
No,
are real casters.
Wait, the girlfriend in Deadpool?
No, not the girlfriend.
The other one,
the
yes.
evil girl that
Yes.
fights.
Yeah, she was a legit MMA fighter.
Yeah, she was an MMA
She's
fighter who
good.
transitioned into acting in Haywire.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she's actually gotten much better, but for Haywire, they had to completely overdub all of her dialogue because she just was kind of not good at acting.
Oh wow.
And her voice was too deep. So they like overdubbed her with a different actress.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Goodness.
But she's gotten a lot better.
Yes, definitely.
It should be Serena Williams.
Yeah, I
Could
mean,
be, yeah.
yeah. If she could act, if Serena Williams could act, that would be a
Is-
perfect casting because she looks the part.
Is She-Hulk a big property?
It's a popular
She-Hulk is
comic character.
Don't look at me like that.
Yeah, it is. People love
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
I mean, I think it's cool. I just don't know.
Oh, She-Hulk's amazing.
She-Hulk
I wouldn't.
is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
She's a lawyer.
I'm surprised there haven't ever been a She-Hulk show before.
There was something.
I think
a long time
there's
ago.
something, sort of something that had She-Hulk in it, but back in the 70s or something.
Yeah.
She-Hulk, She-Ra in a new version of The Odd Couple coming to CBS.
But this show could be, this show could be so fucking cool because basically Jessica Gao, who won an Emmy for penning the acclaimed Rick and Morty episode Pickle Rick, is on board as the head writer of the series.
Oh.
And that news alone gives me so much hype for this because the thing that you want the She-Hulk to be is a crazy fucked up Ally McBeal
Oh, interesting.
because she's a lawyer. So you can just imagine a female lawyer type Ally McBeal type show, but then she just turns into the fucking She-Hulk and is also a superhero, and how crazy that could be. With that writer on board, it sounds like that's exactly what it's going to be.
So, based on it being a Rick and Morty writer, there's going to be more humor to it.
Yeah, I think the show is definitely lends itself more to a humorous take on it. She doesn't have a lot of the like built-in sort of angst that the Hulk does with his like tragic backstory and stuff like that. But they're working on this, and they're shooting in Atlanta this summer, so we'll see that on Disney Plus soon.
You think they're gonna shoot at the Tyler Perry Studios?
Yeah, and it's Tyler Perry's gonna play She-Hulk.
That's gonna be the worst wig ever.
That'd have been amazing.
There's a new Digimon reboot coming, bringing back the original cast. Now, see, the thing about your size,
My size, I just don't
it's
know
so
it.
out of touch.
Yeah.
because
But I do have a question that I'll save for after you talk more.
while Pokemon might be the more popular franchise overall,
Digimon are the champions.
Digimon has built up its own respectable following, largely thanks to the well-received Digimon anime series. Other Digimon anime series have been set in other areas with different characters, but now Toei Animation is bringing back the original cast for a 2020 reboot. The new Digimon Adventure anime series will feature the same cast of human characters and partner Digimon that fans will remember from the original show. The key difference is that the setting is being updated to actually be set in 2020. The new series will be a reboot, though it's unclear how close it will follow the original show and what changes will be made to the story. So back in the 90s, whenever Pokemon became huge, it led to like everybody else being like, what's our like monster collecting thing? And so it spawned a bunch of like copycat type things. So amongst them, there was like Monster Rancher and Digimon and a couple other ones that I can't even remember. But the thing about Digimon, despite the fact that it was kind of a response to Pokemon's popularity, it's not just a like copycat generic like Pepsi version of Pokemon. It's definitely not as popular, but it's way cooler. Like Digimon is low key way better than Pokemon.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
I want everyone, including Todd, rank for me Pokemon, Digimon, Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z, Digimon, Pokemon.
Same.
Digimon, Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon.
Oh.
The fuck?
I have no horse in this race.
It's
This
kind
is
of hard for
fascinating.
me because I'm putting in a lot of stuff into Pokemon.
Just look into your heart.
like the games, the card games, the Game Boy.
How much money it makes
I
per
hate-
year? How many
I
people
hate
play per
you.
capita?
I hate you.
I didn't say that. I'm so connected to
Who
Pokemon.
gives a fuck about just
Buy
what do you
those
what
games.
do
What do you
you
watch?
like?
What do you
Have an
watch?
opinion
Yeah.
that's not based on the fucking market
I'm
value.
not saying that. You guys put
Do
so
homeless
many words into my
doctors
mind.
play Digimon?
Who gives
into
It's
your
kind of hard. It's kind of hard because I'm so connected to Pokemon. The viewers will know. I think the best one of them is probably Dragon Ball Z, and then Pokemon, and then everything else, and then Digimon.
I wish
Digimon
Lewis never
sucks.
left.
Todd's gonna stab you.
You can't reach me.
He can't reach me. He's too busy on the board.
Digimon sucks.
interesting.
It's the
Whoa.
dumbest
Wow.
show. It's so doofy and dumb. Like, whatever. Digimon sucks.
You've never watched Digimon.
I watched Digimon and I tried to get into it. It's stupid.
Digimon. Digimon.
It's dumb.
Digimon.
I let
Digimon.
Andrew get that off. And I
Digimon.
wasn't gonna say
Digimon.
anything to
Digital
troll
monsters.
him.
Digimon are the
But it
champions.
sucks. You see
Digimon.
dumb
Digital
song?
monsters. Digimon are
both
the
songs
champions.
are dumb.
No, you like
What?
the Pokemon song.
The Pokemon song is. You don't even know what the Pokemon song
No,
is.
I know.
played it
You would.
for him.
You would
I
love
know
it if you
you
The
heard it.
Pokemon song is so touching.
It's not as good as
Be
Beyblades.
the very best.
Beyblades.
You gotta get out of here.
I'm just throwing things.
You know.
out there.
You know how you.
Beyblades was better than Digimon.
You know how you know that Beyblade sucks because
it's better than Digimon.
they had Beyblade Subway toys.
The Beyblade toys were so good.
That's when you know something sucks is whenever it's the Happy Meal toy for Subway.
What's the problem?
What is a weeb? Is it when you're like really into something, like you're really nerdy about something, like you believe like the lore of it? Is that like a weeb?
No, a weeb is somebody who's like is a white person who's obsessed with like Japanese stuff.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, I was just a huge
weeaboo.
Beyblade nerd.
Okay.
Like I believe
Beyblade sucks.
I agree. I've been looking back. I didn't have much to do apparently, but I
is
would
not
I
bad.
would believe that I could make channel my energy into a spinning disc,
So
then make it hit another person. But I always won. So suck it, you losers. And also, I
that
did the
was
same
what
thing.
you wasted your imagination on
that
as a child?
that
You see how you
and
connected
Yu-Gi-Oh
it?
cards. I will put Yu-Gi-Oh above all else. You guys can shut your mouth.
Yu-Gi-Oh's way better than fucking Beyblade.
Yeah,
but
You
Yu-Gi-Oh
see
is
how you
better.
connected it to everything else? It's like the show is something, but then you got the toy. That's what I do with Pokemon. I was obsessed with Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Gold, all those things that it just made it like it's hard to just be like, oh well, which show is better?
But that just makes it the top of
consumed
your
life.
list.
No,
That,
because
like-
at
But
the
Digimon
very
had
end of
the
day,
Digimon had the Digimon toys. They had the little Tamagotchi.
the doof Digimon toys, lame.
They were
Get
cool.
them outta here.
I want you to look at your dumb wrist before you call any of our devices lame.
so
Yo, I can't say their name, but somebody told me this watch is great, and you guys all respect them.
And the thing is,
Is it Gary Vee?
No,
we don't even have to tell the audience because that watch is so lame
I love the
that
watch.
you
Thank
can
you.
that you can see it through the audio.
Audio listeners know exactly what we're
That
looking at right
watch
now.
is better than Digimon.
I thank you.
All right,
That's
all
not
right.
really-
He doesn't
Digimon
even
sucks.
know. That's a
But
meaningless statement. He doesn't know
Digimon
Digimon.
is so dumb. It's the dumbest thing. And congrats to all the actors getting a new job.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I brought this up.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would get this far. Wow.
Change into digital champions to save the digital world.
Huh.
It's good.
You see who likes this?
And also, you saying that the Pokemon song sucks just you can't
No,
have
the Pokemon
heard the
song
Pokemon
is hard.
song.
The
I've
Pokemon
heard
song
the
is
Pokemon song.
amazing.
You can't remember what it is.
No, I maybe like the Dragon Ball Z song more.
That's a hard song too.
Which Dragon Ball Z song?
The one that
The
you
one we
played for
listened
us?
to?
Yeah.
the 80s thing, the 80s type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Dragon Ball Z song is better than this, but
All right, I'm gonna. Okay. Okay.
Wait, keep
whatever
going, keep
you
going,
thought
keep
the
going, keep
Pokemon
going, keep
song
going.
was.
Can you play the Digimon song next so I can compare?
Hold up, keep it going.
The Digimon
There's-
song isn't as good.
We have to hit a certain part. Here we go, right here.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Okay. Yeah. You know what it was?
Yeah, whatever you thought the Pokemon song was not this.
I thought the Pokemon song was the Beyblade song,
All right, you got to chill.
and that song's terrible.
Beyblade songs is garbage.
And I mean,
Okay,
this is
now I
not.
get it.
This doesn't support my argument at all because the Pokemon song is way better than the
That's
Digimon song,
Pokemon sounds
Way
good.
better.
and you're not gonna like it. But I love it. But it's it's not as good.
All right,
Gosh,
all right,
this
hang
is
on.
garbage.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Come on,
Oh, is it?
You're gonna hate this because.
I mean,
Here we go. This is the
You
real
liked
shit.
it already.
I
though.
kind of did.
I know you did.
I was kind of feeling it.
There we go. Oh, look at it. Fuck.
Shut the fuck up. We're trying to listen to this.
All right. Oh no.
This sounds like Phantom at the dumb opera.
No, I'm going to go ahead and say season 1 Digimon is better than them all.
Oh my gosh.
You mean season 2?
What's the first? No, this is season 2.
This is
This is
season
season
1.
Season 1.
Oh, wait, was the first thing
The first one was season 2.
First one was season 2.
Season 2 is the best song out of everything.
That was the best
All right.
one?
Yes.
All right, we moving
that
on.
had some stank on it.
Nah, we
Kirk,
moving
your
on.
dad beats. What are you doing
What
right
was
now?
better, Martin or Fresh Prince? We're moving
Martin.
on. What?
Martin.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the Pokemon thing now. It's
All right,
like
what about
Martin
this?
is obviously
What about
better, but
this?
Fresh Prince holds more standing in my life.
Martin's way better.
How dare you? Way better? It's better, but I don't know about way better.
Mildly better.
Once was a man named Gold Roger, king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows.
What is this?
One Piece.
Wait, this is a show called One Piece?
One Piece, yeah.
Find it first. I left everything I owned in one piece.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
Todd, One Piece? Todd, if Todd doesn't
Hold
know
on,
it,
you gotta hear the song.
this is
cultural appropriation.
this is New Kids on the Block trying to rap. Yeah, 100%. This is Donnie spitting a verse. This is terrible.
What?
Yeah,
It's not terrible.
it's terrible.
super trash.
Digimon Season 2 is my jam. It's so dumb. No, the Digimon Season 2's got some. It's got some importance to it. It's got some heft. This is.
Everyone in the
Digimon
fucking
Season 2.
love
It's
it.
got some heft to it.
Love it. I loved every moment of that.
We're gonna...
You know what? Fuck it. Play the Naruto theme song too. We're just gonna get the
No,
we're gonna
please
get the
God,
ultimate
no.
theme song in here.
No.
Let's move on.
Patrick Stewart had X-Men and Professor X talks with Marvel's Kevin Feige recently. Could Patrick Stewart come back as Charles Xavier in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? The actor revealed that he recently sat down with Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige to discuss the MCU, X-Men, and Charles Xavier. Marvel fans have wondered for a long time now how the Fox properties will be handled at Disney, and that still remains to be one huge question. We know that X-Men and Fantastic Four are on the way, but what are they going to look like? Are they bringing back any familiar faces? Patrick Stewart had this to say. I met with Kevin Feige a couple of months ago, and we had long conversations. And there have been moves and suggestions which include Charles Xavier. Patrick Stewart started talking to Kevin Feige is immediately going to have MCU fans speculating about his return as Charles Xavier. However, Stewart knows this and put an end to the speculation before it could even begin. Long story short, Stewart won't be returning as Charles Xavier in the MCU for a very good reason. The actor explains, here's the problem. If we had not made Logan, then yes, I would probably be ready to get into the wheelchair one more time and be Charles Xavier. But Logan changed all that. I don't believe that. I think that if he wanted him, they said we want you to come back, he would just come back.
Yeah.
He came back to be fucking Captain Picard.
I've only
Love
seen
it.
bits and pieces of Logan, which I do like. Did something big happen
In Logan, he died.
Yeah, there's
Oh, he died.
Yeah, there's a big thing.
Okay.
but it's in the future.
Okay. All right.
Way in the future, by the way. So far in the future, it has to be. I'm sure it had a timeline. I can't remember. But Logan, that old, would be so far in the future that like everybody's already dead. Not
Okay.
from, not
So
even
it doesn't really hold water.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they did it in the right time period, he could definitely be in the movie.
Here's my take on things. I would say keep Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Agreed.
Keep James McAvoy as Charles Xavier.
Oh.
Keep Evan Peters as Quicksilver.
Oh, okay.
Get rid of everybody else.
Wait, but wasn't what's his name Quicksilver?
Yeah, but who gives a fuck?
Okay, so well, they're retconning his death. You're saying then? So when they bring it over, he's a new Quicksilver.
They could just say like, oh, That I don't know. I don't know how they would
The
do
snap.
it. But
I think Logan should be like the way that they made J. Jonah Jameson. He's always going to be J.K. Simmons at this point.
Yeah.
I think they should always have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I think they should always have Jean-Luc Picard as
I think
What's the name of the dude
Charles
who was-
Xavier.
What's the name of the dude who was in Hunger? And he was in
Michael Fassbender. I could take him or leave him as Magneto.
I want Michael Fassbender to just go on and do different things.
porn.
I don't, huh?
what?
I would love if Michael Fassbender did porn. I don't care if you're joking.
Why?
He's got a huge dick.
That's why I said it.
Why?
Wow.
You'd rather
You
him
don't
do
know how-
porn than make good movies? That makes no
He's
sense.
wasting his
What
talent.
was the name of that movie?
I have no idea.
Shame.
Oh,
Shame. Yeah, I know Shame. That's right.
I just did my own research.
Does anybody feel
All right,
like
we're gonna move on.
the X-Men feels so far removed from Marvel that I almost go, that's not Marvel.
It's true.
Just from movie based. I get it
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's part of it, but just
It's not a part of
it
it.
doesn't feel like they're part of the family.
Well, I mean, because they weren't.
Yeah, I know, but it feels like
even the movie styles are totally different.
and that they shouldn't be.
Back in the whenever it was, 90s or even earlier than that, I forget exactly when. Marvel basically just sold off all of their properties to just whoever wanted them. So they sold Spider-Man and all of the Spider-Man related characters to Sony. And they sold X-Men and all the X-Men related characters to Fox. When they went to want to make movies in the mid 2000s, they were just like, we don't have any of the good stuff. So it's funny because all the characters they ended up turning into the MCU were all kind of like the B characters that nobody cared
Oh,
about.
yeah, I
Like
remember
nobody
you
gave a
saying
shit
that.
about Iron Man.
Yeah.
So they made all these movies and obviously became huge. But back in the 90s when they made the X-Men movies, they were sort of made in a different era. And the way that Bryan Singer made those movies was kind of like a more serious, kind of more realistic version of things. Because back then people were less willing to do like a full-on comic booky movie.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why they're so different in terms of like tone and the way that they are. But if you see, they became more and more comic booky throughout the movies to the point where like the last two movies, which were not good at all,
Dark Phoenix?
Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, the movies were fucking terrible. But they definitely kind of leaned more into them being more comic booky. And I think that those movies, if you saw them, they fit more into what the MCU was doing.
Okay.
Obviously, because they were trying to like draft off of
Yeah.
what the MCU was doing and kind of make their movies more like those, and it failed. But I think that those actors, you take them, you put them into the MCU version of the X-Men. The way that the X-Men will be be totally different. It won't feel like those X-Men movies.
Maybe that's it.
But I still think that the actors could still be really good as those characters, even with that new sort of tone.
Because right now I don't like X-Men.
It's never been good.
I
There's
enjoy
only- there's
enjoy the
only-
Marvel
there's only like two-
universe much
Never
more.
been good.
That's-
Andrew,
the
do you know what
movies-
happens to a frog that gets struck by lightning? Same thing as everything else.
Okay.
I have no
First
idea.
First
that
of
was
all-
the most badass.
There's
First of all,
there's two X-Men that are good.
The first two X-Men movies are great. First Class is good.
First Class and Days of Future Past.
You love the Brett Ratner
No, the
one.
first
Days of Future
the first two X-Men movies are some of the best superhero movies ever made.
okay.
And also, who gives a fuck about the movies? The X-Men just as characters. I mean,
yeah.
the X-Men are great. The X-Men are the best characters.
Do you think?
I mean, yeah, but I was talking about the movies, like since the early 2000s up until today.
I mean, yeah, I don't agree with you at all. The first two movies are fucking
I
amazing.
think that if there was a Rumble, Marvel Universe would beat up X-Men.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, nobody.
Wait, Fox X-Men universe?
if you're just talking,
Or-
if you're just talking about actual power,
Yeah.
Wolverine and Deadpool could just decimate everybody.
the entire thing.
They could, if they wanted to, they could
Really?
just fucking kill
I mean,
everybody.
Deadpool could do it alone,
How could
and
they
he's
kill
done it.
Thor?
They could kill Thor.
Really?
Kill Thor.
You think?
He's fat now.
Thor is not an immortal being. He's gonna die eventually. He just lives longer than most people, and he has superhuman powers considered on Earth. Like he's just a regular person where he's from. Just like Superman isn't super, he's just less heavy on Earth.
Is Deadpool an X-Men?
Deadpool.
Well, he's an X-Men character. That's
technically?
he was part of the stable of characters that Fox
Okay.
bought, which is why they
Okay.
are able to make those
He
movies.
thinks X-Men is a little.
He was in
sexist, so
the
he's
X-Force,
Oh, okay. All right then. I stand corrected.
and he's been an Avenger as well.
All right.
Seth Rogen revealed on Twitter that he actually ghost wrote Bad Boys 2. He did a rewrite of the script.
I thought there would be a bigger reaction to that.
That is both unbelievable and highly believable at the same time.
I don't think he's lying.
Yeah, he's not lying. Why would he lie?
There's
about
no
this?
reason to.
Actually, I wanted to bring this up because I overheard you guys a couple days ago talking about Bad Boys, and somebody was like, "Bad Boys 2 sucks."
Somebody did say that.
And Bad Boys 2 does not
was
suck.
Kirk.
Bad
Was it
Boys
me? Was it
Bad
Kirk?
Boys 2 is better than the first one.
I bet you I said
You
that.
said that, yeah.
I think aside from the Reggie scene, which is genius, I enjoy Bad Boys more.
Bad Boys 2 is the Godfather 2 of Bad Boys.
Okay.
He's like Godfather 1 was better.
Godfather 1 was wonderful. No, Godfather 2 is better. But I don't know. I mean, it's also time periods because Bad Boys came like 94, 95. I'm in my early 20s. I'm like, oh, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. And then Bad Boys 2 was like 2003, 4. Is that right?
2003.
Yeah. And so I'm like,
Yes,
I'm a
2003.
little older. I'm in my early 30s. And I'm like, it's not as good as the
Hold on a minute. Are you and Will Smith the same age?
Yeah.
Will's 50.
I'm a little younger.
So what you're saying is you're better than Will Smith because the time period
I've
is because
always
he's the
been-
same age
What?
and he was doing the movies thinking they're good. So if you think it's bad, you're saying you're better than Will Smith, and I'm not
Will,
here for it.
Will Smith is on record saying that a lot of his movies are pretty
Oh, is
darn
it?
bad.
Damn it.
I've been on the record for years saying that I'm better than Will Smith.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's kind of my MO, where I
should
just walk
tweet
around
that.
going, Will Smith's
Man.
not as good as me.
Yeah,
You
Kirk,
should tweet
Kirk
that.
wasn't scared to talk to Tupac.
No, I would talk to Tupac. We just sat down,
Yeah.
had a smart latte, and just hashed it out.
He would not have a no smart latte. With
I
me.
guarantee
Oh,
you.
yes, he was.
Absolutely.
Tupac was
loved lattes.
was like an art school
yeah.
I know.
poet.
I know.
He was not he would like his hard gangster thing was just an act.
If
I know.
we had a latte and we made a little shamrock on it and we sat down,
Tupac would love that.
He'd love that.
Welcome to Black History with Kirk
It'd
and
be
Andrew.
great. And we would just talk about. We wouldn't even talk anything. We'd just be like, hey man,
You just talk and say, I'm better than Will. I'm better than Will.
and he'd be like, and I'd be like, you're absolutely better than Will,
Oh.
Mr.
Yeah,
Tupac.
That's crazy. That's why he was with his wife.
Tupac never could have wrote. Parents just don't understand.
Nah, I don't think he could.
Will Smith couldn't have written "Hit 'Em Up."
So
He
on,
did
have said
write
it.
Boom Shake the Room, and I will not.
All right,
On-
but shout out to
disparage
Seth
it.
Rogen.
That's a good
man.
song.
Good for him.
on Tuesday, Seth Rogen revealed that he helped punch up the Bad Boys 2 script when he was merely a budding writer. He said Judge was somebody was like something about how like Bad Boys 2 was great or something like that, and then he just responded to the tweet and said, I helped rewrite Bad Boys 2. And then somebody was like, what? And then he said, Judd was rewriting it and me and Evan were broke, so he gave us a bit of money to help.
His partner.
Yeah, Evan Goldberg, his writing partner.
Gotcha.
He co-wrote Superbad and
They produced all this
Sausage
stuff.
Fest and
Yeah.
Pineapple Express and all these other movies you
He's
know
the-
with Seth
he's the
Rogen. in 'em.
secret face.
I don't remember much, but we all definitely wrote the joke where they don't know the words to the song and where Martin shoots the machine gun in the car by accident, and probably many more.
Those two things sound like Seth Rogen would write them.
Also, the probably many more is like it's like we just fucked his entire brain up. He's like, I know I wrote some more of these jokes.
I just can't remember.
He probably was
Yeah, that's
smoking.
that's what it occurred to me because it's like if like one of my first ever things that I did in my career was like help rewrite a massively huge popular movie, I'd remember
Oh, yeah.
every
Absolutely.
single thing I did, and I would
100%.
be like, oh yeah, like that part, I did that,
did that.
I did that,
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah, but I think he has so much under his belt now that it's like after a while,
Yeah.
I did that. That's cool.
Speaking of Bad Boys, fast forwarding to the future, Bad Boys 3 scored a record-breaking MLK holiday box office debut with $73 million.
Sick.
And not only that, but it's been immediately fast-tracked into production of Bad Boys 4.
Makes,
It's already been,
Obviously.
already been
Makes
greenlit.
sense.
I mean, that's just smart.
I mean, Will did say in all the interviews that I watched that people were asking him about Bad Boys 4, and he was like, "We're just gonna have to let the audience choose." And I watched it. I want a fourth.
Do you really?
I do.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell
man.
this, man.
I haven't
The
seen it. I
trailer
don't know.
looks and makes the movie look like garbage.
Okay. Because it does. It does.
Yeah.
When I watched
But
the trailer, I
trailers
was
are
like,
meaningless.
I was
though.
like, this trailer looks like doo doo. But I went and I watched it, and you have to watch it with a certain lens. You can't be nitpicky about it. You can't want great acting. You can't want great writing. You can't like there's certain things you just can't want from it. But if you're just like, I simply want to be entertained, you will be. Now, is it better than A Fall from Grace? I don't know.
the only time you can really know a movie's going to be bad from the trailer is when you can tell by what they do show that they didn't have anything to show.
Most of the trailer is the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Really?
Well, that's actually, that would be the opposite of what I'm talking about. Whenever you know a movie's going to be bad is when they show you the whole movie and they show you the end. And then you're like, they couldn't find anything to put in this movie to make it look good. So they just had to show you the end of the movie because it was the only interesting thing they could pull out.
That's not what happened in Bad Boys. To be honest with you, you have no clue what the story is about, and then you watch it and you're like, "Oh, I see." I mean, it was well done. It was well done. If you do not nitpick at it, you will have a good time. So
I'm torn because I take exception to your immediate judgment of a movie based on the trailer, but also you just told us that you loved the new Tyler Perry movie, so even your like of Bad Boys, I can't trust.
I'm going to trust your like a Bad Boys because I was like, I don't want to see it. But now I want to see it.
You have to have your parameters have to be on. If you're looking at it from filmmaker standpoint, the first thing I noticed was, oh, this looks like generic coloring. But then I was like, oh, I gotta get out of this. I gotta get out of this. I gotta get out of this. I'm talking about color grading, fool. I was like, the color grade in this looks like we made an action movie, and I was like, okay, let me get out of that mindset. And when I watched it, and then there's lines where I'm like, damn, Martin, you couldn't have delivered that a little bit better. And then I was like, oh, let me get out of that. So if you get out of it and you just like get sucked into the movie, you will have a great time. I didn't check the reviews and everything super hardcore until after I finished watching it. And I heard it was getting good reviews, but I was like, I'm going to just watch it. And I watched it, and I had a good time. And then I went back, and I was like, oh, okay, for the same reasons that I liked it, everybody else liked it.
Yeah, I think the reviews are kind of lining up with what you're saying, where they're just like, just ignore everything and just go enjoy it. And like, see it. They're like, I remember seeing reviews that like, see it in a theater.
For sure. So watch it.
I'm going to
check it out.
I'm going to check it out.
So we've talked about this a couple times on various episodes. The Ballad of the Mandalorian, particularly Baby Yoda.
Is it officially called The Ballad of the Mandalorian?
No, like the story, the ballad.
The
Ballad
I
of the Mandalorian.
I see what you're saying.
Although that'd be, I wish they had named it.
Yeah.
Andrew, you got to start working on that song.
Yeah.
But we talked about this a couple times. We talked about the fact that like because they were trying to keep Baby Yoda a secret until everybody had a chance to watch the first episode, that they just didn't release merch for a while. Because whenever you are releasing merchandise, you do a contract with all the retailers, and then the retailers, they create SKUs for the products, and then they add the pages. So there's all this preparation for a product to be available in a store, and a lot of times people find out things early by hacking into like websites of retail outlets and things like that. And so frequently what happens like in video games is people will get like early word of a new video game coming out because like GameStop will create SKUs for a bunch of games, and they'll have like the names of them, and people will hack into their database, and they'll be like, oh shit, like GameStop has a SKU for a new Pokemon game that's coming out in like 2021. So they couldn't even do that. Like they wanted to keep it so secret that they couldn't even like prepare to release merchandise, which is why we still kind of don't have any even now. So in that vacuum of no Baby Yoda merchandise, a huge cottage industry of bootleg Etsy Baby Yoda products has sprung up, and Disney is bringing the hammer down.
Thor's hammer.
Heavy. Yeah.
That's not fair.
According to a new report, several Etsy shop owners who were selling Baby Yoda items, such as Your Stuffed Memories, who was selling handmade plush dolls and hedge crafts, who was selling a dice bag with the character's likeness, have been sent notices by Disney. The studio has required that Etsy remove listings featuring bootleg merchandise related to The Mandalorian. These sellers and others have had their listings removed as a result. Given the popularity of the show and Baby Yoda, that has hurt sales for these shops. Some of the shops have just been like deleted whole.
Like
whole cloth, yeah.
That's extreme. Are most of these mom and pop shops?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just
handmade.
Yeah, it's all just regular people who like, make stuff.
I'm like, come on.
Disney needs to like. There's no way any of these shops are making more than $500,000 from Disney as a company in the long run. I think like there's no way two or three shops.
It's probably not 2 or 3 shops. It's probably
fuck it. Let's say
it's a lot of.
Let's say there's
400
Etsy shops creating this stuff. They take $12 million in revenue collectively from Disney. That is nothing. Disney's doing this to fucking swing their dick around and be assholes. I fucking hate this.
Yeah, I
if you
care-
have a product that's better than Disney's, you should be able to sell it if people fucking want to buy it.
I mean, your statement lacks a lot of understanding.
Of what, copyright? Like, who the fuck cares? It's a Baby Yoda.
Let's just say that was like the meanest thing you've ever said to a human
I don't give a
being.
shit. Like, IP is ridiculous in this sense. Like, you guys intentionally kept it off the shelves, and people filled a void, and now you guys are wanting to fucking stop
It's
people
their
from making money.
product. I mean,
Yeah,
I
well-
agree with what you're saying, and that's the sweet way of thinking. But
Dumb bullshit.
It's-
You make
they don't
billions
own
of
it.
dollars a year.
they don't
Well,
own it.
What's the point behind it, though?
What's the point behind what?
They're not losing any actual money. Like, you're not taking jobs away from other people. They're not going to lose anything. They'll make that money back in time, I'm sure. Why not let these people do their...
Well, the idea behind it's not really about money. It's not about whenever people send these cease and desist things. It's not because of the money. It's not because they think that they're going to lose money from it. It's because of the diluting of their brand. It's about like they just don't want things out there that people will confuse with an official Disney thing. Like Disney has a very tight control over their branding. Like, for instance, the whole reason why like Scrooge McDuck exists is because back in the day, they wanted to do Disney comics, but the Disney company, they refused to ever allow Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or any of like the main stable of characters to ever appear in anything other than the official Disney shorts, like Steamboat Willie, that type of shit, or at Disneyland. And they didn't want them to appear in other media like comics or whatever. And so they created new characters. And so one of the characters they created was Scrooge McDuck. And then there was comics in the 50s. And then that led to DuckTales and all that stuff. And the reason for that was because they didn't want Mickey Mouse as a character, as a brand, to be diluted by appearing too much. They wanted to keep him sort of special and just like you could only see Mickey Mouse if you went to the movie theater to see those shorts that would play in front of movies, or if you went to Disneyland. And it would make him less special if you could just go buy comics and he was in it. And Disney has sort of kept that philosophy throughout the years, and their brand ambassadorship is kind of like second to none. It's less about losing money, it's more about they just don't want products featuring their characters that they haven't like approved the design of or the quality of floating around or out there where people could confuse them with actual Disney products. So that's the reason why they're doing it. It's not because they think they're going to lose money. It depends on who's really being hurt by the situation. For instance, it's really bad for people to sell like bootleg art prints that they've drawn or that they've just photocopied of like comic like characters. Like if you take like a really great picture of Spider-Man that Jim Lee drew and you just like draw your own bootleg version of it, or you photocopy it and you sell it at a convention, which happens all the time at all these comic book conventions, even like Comic-Con. There are all these stands that just sell like bootleg stuff where you can go and you can buy this big art print of like a Jim Lee Spider-Man that the person has either drawn themselves, like copied, or they've just literally photocopied it. And the issue with that, and the reason why that's really bad, is because you're sort of directly taking money out of Jim Lee's pocket, because those comic book artists, there's not a lot of money in comics, and the way that they make their money is by going to conventions and selling their artwork and selling their signature on artwork and doing things like they have those comics where the cover is blank and it's made for you to take it to an artist and have them draw a little thing on it for you and sign it and stuff like that. So in this situation, though, I don't think anybody's really being hurt too much. Yes, it is Disney's character and they have full right to do this, but in this instance, I kind of just don't care, because George Lucas created these characters. He didn't directly create Baby Yoda, but he created Yoda. But he doesn't own Star Wars anymore, so you're not really affecting him at all. The person who designed and created Baby Yoda is just somebody who works for Disney. They're not getting any royalties from Baby Yoda, so even if Disney did release Baby Yoda merchandise, that person wouldn't see any money from it. This is a character that's like directly owned by Disney, and the only person that would be impacted from bootleg Baby Yoda merch is just Disney as a corporation. So I don't really care. In this situation, it's like, who gives a fuck if the people bootleg it? I understand that they're gonna, they have full right to cease and desist, but I don't really morally give a fuck if somebody bootlegs Baby Yoda, because no individual is being negatively affected, really.
Because Baby Yoda has already been bootlegged, because it is Yoda.
It's not Yoda.
It's Yoda.
It's not Yoda.
It's 100% Yoda.
It's not. Is Theo Kirk?
He is.
No, he's better.
But that's the argument. Is like, your son, he kind of looks like you, so he's
the
you.
thing is, he doesn't really look like me.
He does. He totally does.
He doesn't.
He looks more and more like you now. Like,
But no
like
one-
when he was a little kid,
Yeah.
I was like, he didn't look like you at all. But
couldn't
now, like he's like Asian Kirk.
But it's but it's such a blatant, the fact that they're calling it, everyone calls it Baby Yoda because they purposely decided to make this thing look like Yoda.
That's not why people
They
call
purposely
it Baby Yoda.
decided to make it look like Yoda because he's the same species as him. He's got to look
Yeah.
like him. That would be like if you said it's such bullshit that they have Poe Dameron in the new Star Wars movies because he looks like Luke Skywalker because he's a human being.
Yeah, that's baby Luke.
That's not the same.
That's
because
Baby
that's
Luke.
two human beings. That's
they're-
human beings.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry,
the
I'm
Yodas
sorry.
are two of
I'm
the same
sorry.
species.
They
It's
purposefully made it because you're used to
Exactly.
Yoda, and so they're like, oh, since they're used to
They're
Yoda,
capitalizing
they're gonna
on
look
it.
at this and say and think about Yoda. There's no way that they're gonna say we're gonna make this totally different, and no one's gonna think about Yoda.
Then they should have made
No
it
way.
totally different.
No way.
It's Baby Yoda.
I grew up in
emotionally, you're going, that's Yoda.
yeah, but I
Then
don't.
there you go.
I don't see a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it. My problem is
in,
people going, it's not Yoda. It's fucking Yoda.
It's not
No,
Yoda.
it's not
though.
Yoda.
It's Yoda.
It's
not
ridiculous.
Yoda.
It's not
You are
Yoda.
you just said it was. You're like, you
No,
think of
that's-
Yoda when you think of that.
No, it's yes.
There you
no,
go.
that's-
Financially,
you
it's
cut me
Yoda.
off before I was. I
Okay.
said I wasn't saying yes to your question. I was saying yes when they made the character. They wanted you to have the recognition of that looks like Yoda or that looks like a Yoda type
Yes.
thing.
Exactly like.
But it's not Yoda. It's a baby of the same species as Yoda. And of course they did it to capitalize off of the nostalgia of
Yeah.
Yoda and the recognition of it. And it would be less impactful if it was just a different random alien that wasn't recognizable in any way. But I don't see a problem with that. It's not Yoda. It's just a baby. There's multiple Wookiees. Like, aside from Chewbacca, there's different Wookiees. They look exactly like Chewbacca, but they're not
but
Chewbacca.
there's only one Yoda
No, there's more than one.
that we have seen.
There's only
Well, no,
one
there's-
Obi-Wan Kenobi. No,
there's a-
there's a girl Yoda.
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
Ya-
Yodette.
Where's there a
Yaddle.
girl Yoda?
In the prequels, there's a
Yeah.
And she's a Jedi.
I didn't see that.
yeah, she's
Or
on,
High
she's on the Jedi Council. Her name is
Okay.
Yaddle, and
Okay.
she's whatever Yoda's species is. But the only reason why it's called Baby Yoda is because nobody has ever identified what species Yoda is, so you can't call it like if it was Chewbacca, you could say it's a baby Wookiee.
Yeah.
But nobody knows what Yoda is, so people were just in lieu of having a way
because
to
it looks like Yoda.
refer to him, they call him Baby Yoda.
Yeah, because it looks like Yoda.
But I grew up in the age of baby everything. Muppet Babies, Tiny Toons,
Tiny Toons.
Tom and Jerry Kids. So I see no problem
there
with
was
this
a Tom and Jerry Kids.
yeah, Tom and Jerry
Oh,
Kids,
interesting.
Tom and Jerry Kids.
Better than Pokemon.
So I see no
Sorry.
issue in the babifying of characters.
I don't have an issue with it either. I'm fine with it. Let's just call it what it is. It's Baby Yoda.
That's that. So as far as what you're saying to the Etsy accounts,
Oh yeah.
I get it. Andrew's right as well, as far as there's not a problem with it, but I think morally, like, you can't take someone else's thing, make something from it, profit from it, and then be mad that they said, "Yo, don't do that."
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You can't be upset
That's
at
true.
that.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
like-
yours.
It's like if you
So
got
that's-
you
okay.
got away with it, fine. But if you get caught, you just kind of have to be like, well,
Yeah.
fair enough.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, but also,
Like,
wouldn't it be
I
easier
would
for
never-
Disney just to like release a little tag that says official instead of like
Well, they actually they have people have done that in the past. That was like back in the 90s, the Jurassic Park toys. If you watch the commercials for them, they'd be like look for the JP to know this is an official Jurassic Park product. And the reason why they did that is because there was a huge problem with bootleg Jurassic Park toys.
Couldn't you just bootleg the JP then?
Probably.
Yeah.
But people do stuff like that sometimes to try to differentiate it. But it doesn't help because, like you said, you can just bootleg the JP.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the thing I equate it to is like I would never steal from a like small mom and pop shop or like a small independently run store. But sometimes if I'm walking around Target and I'm just like, I'm just gonna walk out with this. Who gives a fuck? It's Target.
Wait, you mean like theft?
Yeah, I I don't regularly do it, but every once in a while, whenever
I've never
like,
respected you more.
I visit my family for Thanksgiving, and we always go out to stores on Black Friday, and like I just go with them just to go with them, but I really have no interest. I don't like buy anything. So we were at Kohl's with my family, and the line is like fucking around the block, around the entire store, and my wife or my girlfriend at the time, she just like wanted this lip balm. But we were just like, I'm not going to wait in this fucking line for lip balm. So I just put it in my pocket and we walked out.
So you're admitting right now you have committed theft.
Yes. Yeah. It's like every once in a while you get a wild hair up your ass of like, oh, I just feel like this thing is small enough and I could just get away with it. I'm just going to walk out with this. Who gives a fuck? It's fucking Target. For all of the crimes that major corporations have committed in humanity, like they deserve it, have some money stolen from them. But I would never steal from a small independent store where it would directly affect a person. But in one of these moments where I decided to just walk out the door with a soda instead of paying for it, and if I got caught, I wouldn't be like, this is fine.
This is mine.
Because this is there's nothing wrong with this because Target is a evil mega corporation. I would just be like, you got me. What am I gonna do?
Well, theft leads to murder.
The more you steal from Target, the higher their prices have to be, driving people back to mom and pop shops. So people steal as much as you want from Target.
All right.
And Walmart. Go fuck yourselves, Walmart.
We're going to move on. Wow. They're going to jail.
Yeah.
It's just going to be me and Kelby talking on this podcast.
Stealing is bad, guys. It doesn't matter what you
I don't
think.
know.
Stealing is bad.
Morality is fluid.
Yeah.
And
it's purely subjective.
It's not a binary. As we were talking about a little bit before, maybe it was off the podcast. I forget. It's a blur now. We were talking about The Matrix 4. So The Matrix 4 is being made. Hugo Weaving won't return as Agent Smith.
Oh, he's probably old, just like Robert Downey Jr.
No, it was actually it was a scheduling conflict.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So he
Damn.
probably has to go to the AARP.
This is all going on
That's
record.
the scheduling conflict.
How dare you? Hugo Weaving is a masterpiece.
There's a classic car show in Burbank on that day, and I just can't.
I just can't.
Didn't wanna-
Can't do it.
There's some Mustangs there. I gotta look at. There's a
Doing-
Beach Boys cover band. It's gonna be a big night. I can't
Yeah.
go.
You guys, he's doing Cloud Atlas too, and he doesn't want anybody to know about it.
Wait, so the Wachowskis are directing Matrix 4, and then they're also simultaneously making Cloud Atlas 2?
Absolutely.
And then they asked him
And
to
then-
be
they're like, we don't want to spread you too thin. You're a minor character on Cloud Atlas, so we're just gonna keep you there.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving has revealed that he isn't reprising his role as Agent Smith. He was apparently included in the script, and he tried to work it out, but it wasn't in the cards. Hugo had this to say. It's unfortunate, but actually I had this offer for The Visit, which is a play, and then the offer came from The Matrix. So I knew it was happening, but I didn't have dates. I thought I could do both, and it took 8 weeks to work out that the dates would work. I held off on accepting a role in The Visit during that time. I was in touch with the Wachowskis, but in the end, they decided the dates weren't going to work. Actually, I think the way this is worded, I think maybe just Lana Wachowski is directing The Matrix, and the only one that's involved. 20th Century Fox is no more. Disney is officially renaming it 20th Century Studios. So they're getting rid of the Fox branding name on all of the Fox properties. So it's all going to be 20th Century Pictures or 20th Century Studios or whatever. Fox Searchlight Pictures is getting changed to Searchlight Pictures. So they're just dropping the Fox name from everything, which makes sense because they basically bought all the studios from Rupert Murdoch, but he still has the Fox Corporation. So he's sort of keeping the name.
Yeah.
And they're just taking the assets.
It makes sense. It's an end of an era, though.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's like,
I mean, that
there's not going to be any more 20th Century Fox. There's not going to be any Fox as we know it. The only Fox is going to be...
Fox is right here.
Yeah. Wait, what?
The only Fox that's going to be left over is just Fox News.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Network.
The
Yeah.
year's 2055.
What's happening?
Disney decides to drop the America on the United States of America. The United States of Disney.
I'd love that. If we're gonna already be this deep into the immersion of like 1984 level like dystopian corporate nightmare, we might as well go all the way.
Yeah,
and just become
but whatever.
the United States of Disney.
I'd like to be United States of Disney. I would definitely like that over the United States of Amazon.
On to the next question for you guys, real quick. Robert Downey Jr. says there's nothing wrong with him doing. He doesn't regret doing blackface.
Oh
in Tropic Thunder.
yeah. Now,
Real quick, respond. React.
Say all that again.
Robert
This is
Downey
out of
Jr.
context. That's not, this is not
it's
what
out
he
of
said.
like that's why it's hard to react quickly.
Yeah.
You saying that, my knee-jerk reaction is very out of touch and showing his privilege.
I think the exact opposite.
But the quote, because I read and watched the actual original interview, and all of the articles and stuff like that have come out since then, they're all wildly taken out of context.
Yeah.
100%. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with him doing that in that movie.
There's many problematic things about Tropic Thunder, whether it's the blackface thing or the never go full
Yeah.
such and such.
Yep.
That movie could definitely never be made now.
No.
And even when it was made, it was definitely towing the line of like, is this okay? I mean, when I was younger, I didn't have a problem with it. But now in retrospect, I'm just like, hey. But I feel like one of the sort of byproducts of the increased like social awareness and political correctness that we've gotten into, I don't think it's a bad thing, but sometimes there's not as much room for satire anymore, and like satire gets like taken on its face. Like people will see something satire and they'll be like, you can't do that because it's bad, and they just don't care to hear the nuance of like why somebody's doing it. So I think that's definitely a case of like at the time, like Ben Stiller was like directly criticizing people. He was basically taking it to its logical extreme of just like the pretentiousness of method actors and how they just adopt a culture as a costume for like 3 months to do a movie, and then they cast it off, and what a luxury that is. And like literally becoming black is like the extreme example of that. And now, I think people just don't have as much willingness to accept the nuance of that, and they just see it as like a white guy did blackface and that's wrong. Yeah. And they're not wrong.
They're wrong. You know why they're wrong? Because all they're doing is looking at it one-dimensionally. That's the issue.
What dimension? What's the
one-dimensionally, surface level? Hey, that guy has a brown face on. But if the reason why I watched the movie and felt okay about it as a teenager, and in that interview where he said 90% of his black friends are okay with it, and most black people I know say, I love that movie and I love that character, is because we didn't look at it to say, whoa, he's making fun of us. We looked at it in the same way that you just explained it. A dude playing another dude who's acting another dude, whatever he says in the movie. There's not an inkling of terrorizing we the people. That's why when he said he doesn't regret it, I was like, you shouldn't regret it. You're an actor. You acted in something. But was it a minstrel show? No.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a minstrel show. And also in the interview, like I said, it was all taken out. What he said was taken out wildly out of context. He didn't say I didn't regret it. And he also didn't say 90% of my black friends thought it was okay. Well, he said those things, but he didn't say those things like as they're presented. He said it in context of, he was asked if he regretted it, and he basically was like, no, I mean, I definitely, like, a lot of people were telling me it was a bad idea, and I definitely, thinking back on it in retrospect, like, I can't believe I did that, but I don't regret it because people should be able to like make mistakes and learn from them. Like, that was kind of what he said. He didn't just say like he didn't say, no, the way it's presented is he said, I didn't regret it. I think it was fine.
Full
but
stop.
But what he said was like, I don't regret it because I just don't believe in like going back and like changing mistakes you've made. Right. Like I want my life to exist on record so that I can learn from mistakes that I've made.
That's not a mistake.
And then he said the thing about 90% of his black friends thinking it was okay. it was in response to being asked, like,
Yeah.
did people around you think this was a bad idea? And he was like, yeah, I mean, my mom was mortified, but you know, like most of my black friends thought it was fine. They said it was okay. Like he was kind of just answering the question. He wasn't saying it as a defense. He wasn't being like, well, it was okay to do because 90% of my black friends thought it was okay. He was just answering a question.
The operative word here is context. And I said it the way I said it, like a headline, just so I could see Kirk's face. And Kirk's
I've been tuning out this whole time, so
Ha!
sorry.
But I said it like that on purpose. But the main thing is like,
So you are a con artist.
no, I said it in the context of we're on a podcast and I want to see you react.
Why?
That being said, Robert
listen
Downey
to
Jr. should have
Pokemon.
been smart enough to realize that anything he said on this highly charged subject would be taken out of context and reinterpreted by outrage culture news media on
They're
the internet.
wrong. Bunch of losers.
So he should have just not said anything.
No,
he
I
should have been
appreciate
like
that he
he
said
should have been when he brought up Tropic Thunder. He should have been like, I'm coming back as Iron Man.
I'm gonna do it for free. I'm doing it for free.
No, I
liked it.
appreciate the fact that he said that and he didn't shame anybody. And I like that he said that he appreciates people that don't like it. And it's like, you have the right to feel that way. And that's that. But to me, I think it was great. He didn't make fun of us and it didn't hurt me. So
Yeah, I think there is some level of what that movie did that had a little bit of like tone deafness to it. I don't think it was perfectly justified in the things that it did, but I think it was much more nuanced than people like presented as.
Yeah, it tried to because the other character,
Ben Stiller's character?
No, the other African American character, the young guy. I forgot.
Oh,
his name.
whatever.
Booty juice.
Al Pacino,
Al Pacino,
whatever
yeah.
his.
Fucking Al Pacino.
Yeah, they had like a scene where they tried to.
Brandon T. Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they tried to make whether it's successful or not. It's debatable.
Yeah, don't get mad at him for that. There's
That you can't say that.
No, I just mean there's better things to be mad at Robert Downey Jr. about, and most of it is advertising to children.
Advertising to children?
All right.
Robert Downey Jr. owns like a production company that works with Butch Hartman on Hulu now, and they run really like problematic ads on their YouTube and their Hulu page or on their. Hulu.
He works with Butch Hartman?
His production company that he owns does.
Team Downey.
Really?
Is that the company name or something? But yeah, he does, and it's like he has no. I don't know if he doesn't have any oversight or he's not paying attention to it. But the ads that they run are like
Well, yeah, I mean,
very
that's like Butch Hartman is like a fucking piece of shit.
yeah,
He's
and Robert Downey Jr. And like people like tweet him and bring it up to him, and like he doesn't answer any questions about it. So I'm assuming he knows what's going on.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
like because Butch Hartman is like he's like a hyper religious, like kind of homophobic,
Yeah, like
and
fundamental-
anti
yeah.
LGBTQ like
Yeah.
guy who like he preaches.
Family values.
Yeah, like the family,
yeah.
like the family values, but really what he's saying is like gay marriage is bad.
Exactly.
And stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and that's like that. I found that out. I was watching a YouTube video about it, and it's just weird that like he just won't answer questions about it either. He's acting. I feel like he's acting like he doesn't know about it, but his company is.
That's really strange.
Really shitty for it.
But yeah,
Nickelodeon guy.
yeah. But he
Okay.
created Fairly Odd Parents,
Fairly Odd
but he's just kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Word.
We already talked about Brice Armstrong, the narrator from Dragon Ball Z, and also played Captain Ginyu, passing away. Also, Terry Jones, founding member of legendary sketch comedy group Monty Python, director of The Labyrinth, died.
Yeah.
77. He's been dealing with a very rare form of dementia known as FTD for several years, and he finally passed away, succumbing to the effects of it. I loved Monty Python growing up. It was definitely a formative thing in my, developing my sense of humor
Yeah,
and
everyone.
my style of comedy. And I definitely like when I was in like high school and out of high school, definitely like started sketch comedy groups, just wanting to be like Monty Python. And yeah, Terry Jones is great. I mean, they're all great. I think maybe Terry Jones and Michael Palin might have been my favorite too.
I mean, it's going to be a point where they're all going to be gone at one
Why
point. I'll
would
be
you
like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's going to be real sad.
Well, it's funny because Monty Python,
Tyler.
they have a very dry British sense of humor, and they've always like kind of approached death in a very kind of like very British type way, where like there's a sketch that Monty Python did called the Dead Parrot sketch. John Cleese plays this like shop owner of this pet store, and he's like someone brings back a parrot, and they're basically like, there's something wrong with this parrot, and he just is telling them that the parrot is dead, and they just won't get it, and he just keeps describing that the parrot is dead in all these different ways, and the person just can't understand it, and he ends up being like, the parrot is deceased, it has ceased to exist on this earth, it is post-life. And so he basically so one of the other members of Monty Python, Graham Chapman, he died back in the 80s or 90s, whatever it was, I forget, and he basically did that speech at his funeral.
Yeah, it was great.
And they appeared on an interview, like with his ashes in an urn, and like had his ashes in like its own seat, and then we're just like, oh, he's like shy today and he doesn't want to talk. So in a very Monty Python fashion, on the day he died, they announced it on the Monty Python Facebook page, probably other social media, but that's where I saw it. And it was a tribute to Terry Jones, like R.I.P. died today at 77. And it said 2 down, 4 to go.
That's very Monty Python-ish. That's so Monty Python-ish.
That's so great.
I mean, it's gonna happen, but
which is just very Monty Python. And then final story, we've talked about a couple deaths today. This might be the most tragic of them all. The most tragic passing that we've ever discussed.
What happened to Betty White?
Don't joke around
she's
like
still going
that.
strong.
Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Every time I see a news story about Betty White, I always am thinking that it's a thing of her dying, and then it's also it's always like, Betty White rides a golf cart.
Yeah.
Mr. Peanut has died.
Of a peanut allergy?
Nope. Tragic, violent death.
Yes.
Get the heck out of
Fucking
here.
ridiculous.
Planners confirmed that Mr. Peanut died during a pre-Super Bowl ad, and lovers everywhere Wednesday are mourning his death. The snack company posted the ad of Mr. Peanut clad in his signature top hat and holding his black cane, and his friends Wesley Snipes and Matt Walsh. Wesley Snipes, legendary actor Wesley Snipes, and then
Be careful where you're treading water here.
And then one of the founding members of Upright Citizens Brigade,
Yeah.
who nobody knows who that is, and they might vaguely recognize him as like, is that the doctor from The Hangover?
Yeah, and they definitely don't know each other.
Mr. Peanut, Wesley Snipes, and Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
Mr. Peanut, the fictional peanut British aristocrat character.
Yep.
Legendary white men can't jump actor Wesley Snipes.
Finest role.
That's true.
And improv actor
Who runs a theater.
who founded a theater in New York City are driving together in a car when they suddenly lose control and drive off a cliff. They're all three hanging onto a branch, and Mr. Peanut decides to sacrifice himself
to save
Wesley Snipes and Matt Walsh.
And
he lets go
Yep.
and falls into the ravine and dies.
And it's brilliant. It's brilliant commercial, mostly because Wesley Snipes is doing some top-notch, high-level
Is he?
dramatic acting.
Oh my god.
Like he gets emotional in it. He's like, real subtle is like, don't do it, Mr. Peanut, don't do it. And it's great. Wesley is back.
I just want you guys to know that I love you and eat my nuts as he falls off. Like,
Don't make light of this.
oh,
This is serious.
sorry.
A brand manager for Kraft Heinz says, it's with heavy hearts that we confirm Mr. Peanut has passed away at 104 years old. He will be remembered as the legume who always brought people together for nutty adventures and a good time. And then
You okay?
Matt,
You need a moment?
according to Hess, fans can tune into Mr. Peanut's funeral during the third quarter of the Super Bowl when the company's full ad will premiere.
I hope
This
Wesley
is
Snipes
hype.
does eulogy.
This is hype for a Super Bowl commercial that is a funeral for Mr. Peanut.
and it's all to sell peanuts.
Let me just show you this real quick. I want to
Is called The Estate of
This is
Mr.
genius.
Peanut.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show this to you guys really quick, and then I want to say something. But first, I'm going to watch this really quick.
Wait, no one has seen it?
I haven't seen it at all.
Right now.
Just all you need to do is peep Wesley Snipes. He's doing top-notch, high-level.
Oh, I'm waiting for Mr. Peanut to meet his legume doom.
He should be in a fall
Well
from
done.
grace.
Matt Matt let go.
Speed up. No, you don't. Don't do it.
Love that.
You'll be all right.
Oh!
That's fucking great.
Oh my god!
Witness Wesley Snipes was like, no, Mr. Peter, don't.
So
Oh my god!
very
Kelby, if you say one bad thing about this commercial, I won't be your friend.
It was a flap.
He got to come back as Iron Man.
Oh!
No, I'm just kidding. This is so weird, but I like it.
I love it.
I like
Iron
it.
Nuts.
I don't know if that was the highest level of acting I've ever seen, but
Him
that's
doing
what's up.
Yeah, for Wesley Snipes, that is.
for a commercial.
Yeah,
Yeah, you go fuck yourself.
I know, yeah.
For a commercial that he could have phoned in,
Definitely.
high level.
And
so
he said, well, Matt, you got to go.
Oh yeah, he's like, let go, Matt.
Yeah,
Instantly.
I do love Matt, whatever his name is hilarious.
Walsh. Yeah, it's great.
I
So-
bet you they auditioned for this.
I mean, I can't even imagine how
This came
Matt
about.
Walsh became the third guy in
Yeah,
this.
that's weird.
Oh, Wesley Snipes is a huge Upright Citizen Group fan.
Yeah, he has no fucking idea who Matt Walsh is.
He knows who
Great.
he is.
Um,
Don't do that.
the thing I'll say about this before we leave is I've been reading up and really delving into this recently, both because of a fascination that I have with it, especially with like what's going on in the country, and I was doing a lot of research into post-truth and the death of satire. And one of the things that I was reading was that in a consumerist capitalist society, the increased need for novelty exponentially growing from day to day leads to a dynamic where all satire will one day be unrecognizable as satire, which is to say that one day something will seem like satire, and then later on, maybe 6 months from then, maybe a couple years from then, it will be unrecognizable as satire because things have gotten so strange that the thing that was once seen as an absurd thing that could never happen in real life will become a normal thing that happens in real life. Most specifically, most relevantly, the fact that reality TV show actor Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Now, a Super Bowl advertising campaign that capitalizes off of the trope of a beloved celebrity dying, and the fact that the Super Bowl commercial for Planters Nuts in 2020 is going to be a funeral for him is so fucking insane. And if you saw this, you would assume it was an Onion article,
Yeah,
but it's a real thing.
it's a real thing. It's genius.
Do you think that the that is caused by an unwillingness to learn and just like go in that direction when you write something satirical and like people just don't understand it? Or do you think it's because people have more access to information and then it just becomes how am I trying
That's
to
such a big question
Yeah, as-
for the end of a podcast.
Oh yeah, so it's something to think about when you ask.
I've said this before. We talked about this before. Whenever Chuck Jones created Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, it was supposed to be a satire of chase cartoons because he thought they were stupid. So he was making fun of Tom and Jerry because he thought they didn't have enough substance. So he created Wile E. Coyote to like make fun of Tom and Jerry, and it was an even more over the top version of Tom and Jerry or chase cartoons. It was supposed to be seen as a ridiculous parody of them, and it was only supposed to be a one-off thing, but people loved it so much that it became a staple of Looney Tunes, and it became a hugely popular series. And now when you look back on it, you're like, oh, like, yeah, like Wile E. Coyote, that's just a way, that's how cartoons were back then. Like,
Yeah.
But we don't recognize it as being strange. We just recognize that as being like a normal cartoon. But to him, when he made it, it was supposed to be like this ridiculous, over-the-top thing that if you watched it, you would be like in disbelief at how stupid it was.
This is our new normal.
That's our new normal.
So I don't know what the answer to that is. All I know is that, like I said, the increased need for novelty in a consumer-driven society means that we will always just be wanting something bigger and bigger every time. And so one thing might seem absurd and ridiculous and unbelievable one day, and then a year later might be commonplace.
I think it's simulation.
All righty.
Of course you do. Thank you for listening. If you like that, and you haven't done it already, please subscribe. We'll get rid of Tyler eventually.
I'll meet my legume doom sometime
Um,
soon.
If you want to follow us and find out more information about the podcast or the nostalgic content we do on a daily basis, you can like our official Nostalgia Facebook page. Just Nostalgia. If you search that, we have the official Nostalgia Facebook page. You can also join our Nostalgia Facebook group. If you search for Nostalgia in groups, you can join that, where you can keep up to date with the podcast and also be part of a community of nostalgia fans talking about nostalgic type stuff every day. You can also follow us on Instagram @Nostalgia for more cool daily nostalgic content. And if you have a question or a thought or anything that you might want read on air during our podcast, you can email us at nostalgicastpod@gmail.com. If you want to support us in a more monetary way, you can go to the Nostalgia Facebook page. At the top, there's a button that says Become a Supporter. Click that. For $4.99 a month, not only do you support the podcast, you also get access to exclusive bonus content that nobody else has access to. Bonus videos, bonus episodes, other things that we haven't determined yet. Thanks for listening.